Hello, welcome to GitLab Pipeline Series Part 1. In this lab, we'll learn about what is GitLab. We'll try to understand about GitLab pipeline, the structure of the pipeline YAML file, and the other concepts about the GitLab. And at the end, we'll try to write a complete dummy YAML pipeline and run it. So the GitLab pipeline contains a YAML file, and the name of the pipeline is .gitlab-ci.yaml. So this is the normal convention used for naming the GitLab pipeline YAML file. And its structure, it is indentation based, and it contains key values. You can see in my VS Code, I have already written a GitLab YAML file. Here we can see this is the structure. Okay, it has keys and it has respective values. Okay. Then the pipeline contains stages. It has some jobs. Jobs basically used to run few scripts. Whatever we are doing in our local machines, running any command. So those commands we need to run using a remote system, and for that we have to mention the script. So here in the pipeline, it may have single stage or it may contain multiple stages depending upon the requirement. So the basic stages, maybe it is build, test, deploy, or we can also have scan. If we are using Docker build, then we need to scan the images. For that we can create another stage for named as scan. So it is depending upon the pipeline or the application, we can create multiple stages. So the stages, each stage includes multiple jobs, and the jobs that belongs to the single stage are running parallel, but the stages itself run sequentially. For example, in this case, suppose we have build, test, and deploy stages. So the build stage will run fast. Once that is done, then test stage, and after test, deploy stage will run. But the jobs that belongs to a particular stage run parallelly. For example, here we can see, if we see here, we have the stages build, test, and deploy, and I have created a job named that build job, and there is another job build job 2. Okay, and both they belongs to stage build. You can see here, build job belongs to stage build, and build job 2 also belongs to stage build. So these two jobs run parallelly. Okay, since they belong to the same stage, they will execute parallelly. But this build stage and this test stage, and there is a deploy stage, so these stages will run sequentially one after another. And the jobs, basically job, it execute or it does a single task in the pipeline. It may be doing some running some script or deploying the code. Okay, or it does something like our executing our unit test or creating building a Docker image. Okay, so it is like each job has a unique task, and it should have a the job should have a unique name. Okay, it should belong to a particular stage, and it should run some script. Okay, but what is runners? Okay, so like whenever we deploy any applications, or we write anything, like we use our local machine console. Okay, to write some scripts, like we can use bash scripts. We can use our suppose you are using Azure, so we can use Azure CLI, or you can use kubectl. Okay, so or any PowerShell scripts. So these are all commands, and we can run those in our local machine to do some specific task. Okay, but whenever we are writing any pipeline, so this task, whatever the command task or scripts, that should be run in a particular machine. Okay, so for that machine, right, it should be available remotely somewhere. Okay, so for what will happen, right? So this pipeline uses some remote machines that is called runners. Okay, so whatever jobs we are including in our pipeline, so whatever the jobs here we are including in your pipeline, for example, this is a job, test job, for example, and here this is some scripts, I'm just bash scripts I'm running here, like echo something, then I'm just printing the host name, and also another echo here. I'm displaying the variable app name. Okay, so these are some scripts, and this should be run in some machine. Okay, so wherever it will run, so for that machine we call runner. So GitLab provides its own runner. Okay, that is called shared runner. But for some specific purpose, if for our application we need some specific uh, pre-built, I mean our custom built machine, then we can create our own runner. Okay, so that we'll discuss later in our future mm, sessions, but today we'll just use the um, GitLab shared runners to execute our jobs. Okay, so you can see we have, if we see, we have shared runners, and we have also a private, we can call it private runner or custom or self-hosted runner, you can say. So this we'll discuss later, but the shared runners, it will be automatically available whenever we'll create a GitLab pipeline. Okay, so here, but whenever, but we can choose our specific images for our runner. If we are not choosing, then it will provide the default shared runner for our pipeline. But if it is required, we can mention our specific runner here. Okay, so, sorry, image here. Like we here, I have mentioned node um, tag 20. Okay, so this is the release version. So this way we can select our particular um, um, runner for our pipeline. You can see here. Okay, you can see here we have a different kind of runners. These are all shared runners. So depending upon the task or the job we are going to execute in our pipeline, we can select our runner. For example, if we use a language runtime or SDK containers for executing any kind of task, right? In that case, we can use Node 20 or Python or Ruby. So these kind of runners we can select. Or OS specific image based, then we can use Ubuntu Alpine or something. Okay, so database related, we can use this kind of runners. Okay, so here what we can do is, so whenever we are running our job, we can also specify uh, the image. For example, we can specify, I have specify Ubuntu machine for my job here. Okay, so you can see this Ubuntu machine will be used as a runner for this job. Okay, so here, for each of these job, it will allocate different runners. So we can see whenever we run the pipeline, we'll see the runner's host name or the runner ID will be different. So because as I told, each stage, the jobs belongs to the each stage run parallelly. That means it run in different runners. Okay, yeah. So if we are going to use shared runners, this image, specifying the image name is not mandatory. But if you want to use a specific kind of runner, then you need to specify that image name here. Yeah, so this is all about runners. And the script, as I told, each job contains scripts that it will execute in the runner. Next step is the basic the artifacts. So artifacts, nothing like in case of a job, it creates some file. Okay, suppose our build artifacts, or we create a Docker image. Okay, so those are artifacts, and we want to store those artifacts so that it can be used any other jobs of a different stage. So that basically we can do by using artifact here. So what it does here, it is a sample, it is not, it is a dummy kind of artifact. Here what I'm doing, it is creating in the runner machine a output directory. In that directory, it is creating a putting this value app binary to this app text, creating a text file, and it's storing this value. And this artifacts, it is putting in the output folder. Okay, so this is available. So this file will be available in that pipeline that can be accessed to other jobs of different stages. Okay, so this is called artifact. We'll see how it happened in this example. Then variables, we can use different kind of variables. Okay, global variables. If here we can see, you can declare any variable here. Okay, so this is app name is a variable. The name is simply my app, and here another variable is deploy name and environment, that is called development. So this variable, when you declare at the top, it will be available to all stages and jobs. Okay, so it will be available to all jobs of the different stages. Next is job um, job level variables. We can also make it local to a particular job. We can declare the inside a particular job, that so that it can be local to that job. uh, the other kind are environment variables. So here we can, in the GitLab portal itself, we can create the variables. So they are treated as environment variables, where we can store the API keys, password, token, and SS keys. So how we can do that? If you go here in my pipe, this is my GitLab I have already created. So you can create a GitLab account. It is very easy. Please go through in the available um, tutorials in YouTube, how to create a GitLab account and how to create a project and create the repository. So I have not discussed this in this lab. So you please go through that. If you are facing any issues, let me know. I can clarify that. So if you go here under setting, in order to create a environment variable, we can see select CI/CD and come to the variables. Here we can select whatever you want. At the end, you can see this is one variable we have created. You can see add variable, then you can select variable name and the environment, for which environment that variable this can be used, that you can select. So I have created three different environments here. We'll discuss what is the environment actually. So environment, whenever we are creating a pipeline, we have generally we follow multiple environments: development, test, staging, production, and we also create infrastructure with respect to each of the environment. Okay, so in order to track what are the pipelines that we have run in with respect to different environments, that can be logged. So this environment you can select. I'll show you how it is created, and we can mention the key name here. Okay, I mean the variable name and the value. So I have already created one here, as you can see. uh, Message as a name message. If I edit it, you can see key is message and value is welcome to GitLab. Okay, so I have just created one environment variable. I'll show you how we can print that value. We can use, you can see here, uh, in this. Okay, you can see in this job 2, right, build job 2, I'm trying to access this message. This is a environment variable. It is not declared anywhere in this pipeline. Okay, but I have declared it in the GitLab um, portal itself. Okay, so if we print it, it will show the output whatever mentioned in that value. Okay, yeah. So what is environment? That I'll let me explain what is this environment. If you go to this deploy, okay, and okay, build, operate. So if you come to operate here, you can see environment, and here I have created already this development, production, and staging environment. So this is nothing, it is the pipeline environment, but the infrastructure environment is different. I mean, suppose you are using Azure, so we have to create a environment in our Azure, like using the subscription or the resource group, for the development and for testing and production. So so the pipeline will deploy the um, application into the respective environment. But these environment basically help in tracking whatever the pipelines we have already run. For example, if I select this, the deploy development, see I have run this much pipeline here. Okay, it will keep track of all the pipelines that run under the development. So whatever deployment we have done for the development infrastructure, so that we can track here. Okay, so anyway, in this lab I have not created in infrastructure environment. So later session I'll create that. I'll show how that will we can do using the pipeline. Okay, how we can keep track of these deployments to different environments using these environments. Okay, so here this it is easy. You can create, if you want to create a new environment, you can do here. Simply give one name like testing or test. Okay, um, not just don't mention anything. It'll try to create one environment here. Okay, you can see it created one environment. Okay, yeah. So next, okay, we are discussing about. Okay, let's go to the again to the repository. Okay, Okay, so these are the different kind of variables you can use. And apart from that, there are some inbuilt or pre-built variables are available in GitLab, like the CI pipeline ID, okay, or pipeline source. So these are pre-built. We don't need to define. If we just print it out, if you want to use in your pipeline, you can directly use like GitLab user ID, GitLab user email, or CI runner ID. Suppose you want to check in which runner the pipeline is running and you want to print that ID, you can print it. Okay, so that way we can use this predefined YAML, predefined variables. Okay, next is pipeline trigger. So trigger, how it trigger it actually. So in by default, whenever we are doing some development work and you want to, whenever you check in the source code to the repo, it automatically trigger. That is the default behavior of GitLab pipeline. So this is we can um, by default we can, by during check-in to the code, it automatically deploy the uh, run the pipeline. But if you want to make it like it deploy, sorry, run the pipeline only when we use we use the any specific branch. For example, our repository, right? We have repository, and in a repository we have multiple branch. And if the pipeline run in a specific branch, then you want to trigger, then we can use like only and hyphen develop. For example, we have a develop branch, then you can use that this so that it will only trigger when the pipeline is running on development branch. Okay, or you can also use rules. For example, we can use rule and you can put condition if CI commit branch. Okay, so on which branch it is committed. If it is main, then run the pipeline. Okay, so this way you can do also. And there is like we can use other rule like regex rules. Okay, suppose here any future branch. Okay, suppose you have branches like future 1, future 2, or future abcd something, right? So any future branch run and it will trigger the pipeline, then you can mention like this rule. Okay, and yeah, so also we can run here like trigger pipeline with different behavior per branch. Yeah, like depending upon the branch name, you can specify and it will run. Okay, as I said, like also we can put like we can run using dev, main, or release branch, not any other branch. Okay, suppose you want to only run the pipeline only this specific dev, main, and release branch, then we can mention like this. Okay, even using a merge request also, if you want to only trigger when there is a merge request, then we can put this rule as merge request event. Okay, so whenever there is a merge request, it will trigger that pipeline as well. Okay, and also we can write a scheduler. Okay, scheduler is nothing like in daily basis or weekly basis or bi-weekly basis or hourly basis. If you want to run any specific pipeline, then we can use this cron expression. So this cron expression basically contains 5 values here. The first one is define the minutes. The second one is the hour. The third one is day of the month. Okay, it can mention 1 to 31 any days, and the month it's 1 to 12. Okay, and a day of the week like 0 to 6. Okay, 0 to 6. 0 stands for Sunday. Okay, or if you want to run it every day, then you just put star. Okay, and if you want to run from 0 to 6, then, or I mean, suppose you want to uh, run it for Monday and Tuesday. Okay, then you can mention uh, uh, 1 comma 2. Okay, so that way you can mention here. Okay, so that will discuss later how we can do. And if you go to the pipeline, you can, I just mentioned here, this is the structure. I have created 4 jobs here. One is build job 2, test job, and the deploy job. Deploy job here, what I'm doing is I have mentioned the environment is deploy environment. What is deploy environment? I have declared here it's development. So this should be deploy into development environment. Okay, we can see in our development environment, it will show the pipeline. Okay, so in order to run this, how we can do? We can do some changes and check in, then it will trigger this pipeline. If we, yeah, let me just do a commit. Okay, let me commit this check in. Then if I'll go to my pipeline here, it should run it. Okay, still it is trying to post this code. Yeah, it is done. Okay, now you can see as soon as it posts, it start running. Okay, and if you go inside, right, yeah, you can see here there are build, test, and deploy three different stages. Build contains two jobs here. You can see in build, see, see build stage. So in build stage, there is two jobs, build job and build job 2. Okay. And the test and the deploy stages contain only one job each. Okay. So if you see it created here, build job, and if you go here, what build job did is, you can see, let's go to build job. What it does here is, it's printed building $app name. So my app is this, then it will create a directory, okay, named as build, and it will output this value, build this to the output.txt, and in artifact it will store this file under build directory. Okay, so if we go here, you can see it will show all these things here, and you can see echo building the app name. So my app, it shows here. Then it created a directory here. Okay, it created this and it push and echo this. So it's printed and created directory and created the file. After that, host name. The host name I just try to print out here. This is the host name where, and what is the host name? It is the runner name actually. Okay, where our pipeline is running. Then so this is the host name here, and uploading artifact. So it shows artifact here. Okay, so if you go here, this will create upload a artifact to this directory. Okay, so if you come here, you can see browse build, right? It has this, and download. This is our, if you want to download here, you can see build. Okay, and this, if you open it, you can see build output for my app. You can see this is what we have just mentioned here, build output for my app is the name of the app. Okay, it printed out. So it will create one artifact and upload it. Then this we have already discussed, like this is my environment variable. If we come here, we can show that also. If you go to jobs, job 2 here. Okay, sorry, pipeline again. Let's go to pipeline again, and let's go to this. Okay, so here if we come, and we'll see here GitLab, right? Message. This is the environment variable, and it shows welcome to GitLab. Okay, and here host name is different. If you see, this host name is different compared to the first job. Okay, and next is what it does is the, okay, okay, so next the test. If you go to test job, right, here it will show build output my app. You can see here what I'm doing is, it will download automatically, because when the artifact is created in one of the job, right, by default it will be available to the, what it does is basically the test, it cat, you can see here cat build folder build and output text, it is printing this value. So here if we go to the pipeline, we can see it is this, the value it printing cat build output text. Okay, so this way it will just print the output of that, what it is from that artifactory. Okay, so next is let's go back here. So once then the deployment stage. In deployment stage, what we are doing, we are trying to deploy, we have mentioned here environment development. Here is the, this is the variable. Okay, so it try to deploy into dev environment. Okay, so it will use the development environment to deploy this code, and I have written some dummy scripts here just to show you. And yeah, but what I mentioned here, I have mentioned a rule here. Okay, and this will only execute, I mean, this pipeline if the branch is main. So I'm using the main branch only, so it got executed, but it shows when manual. Okay, so it will deploy only manually because it is production. So we can put a condition that require the user intervention. So for that purpose, what we can see, it stopped here, it didn't execute it. So we need to run it. So we can just click here and it started running. Okay, if you can see here, it will come and it try to run the and deploy this. Okay, so what it will do, it will do all these activities, like it will echo this is running in host this, and deploying this application in this environment. This much it will do. Okay, so it is waiting for that, and we will also see this should display in our development environment. Okay, now if you go here, okay, you can see this is the status 6 minutes ago, but we need to see. Okay, this is done, right? So this is done. That means, so it is now showing here, this is succeeded, and 6 minutes ago when we initially start the pipeline, I mean, okay, 6 minutes ago. So that means this pipeline run in development environment, and if you see the other environment, it will not show this kind of, suppose production, if you go, it is not available here. Okay, and one more thing here I want to say, like, you are using dependencies. Okay, so basically dependencies will use if the one stage that depends upon another stage that should be complete. Okay, for example, test depends upon the build stage. So for that, what we can mention here is, you can mention here dependencies build job. You can see here, it depends upon this job, build job. If build job fail, then this test job will not work, I mean, it will not start execute. Okay, so for that reason, because as you know, like, our in order to deploy the application, our build should be success. If build is success, then test should be success. Okay, so if build and test both success, then our deployment should success, I mean, should proceed. So in that case, we need to also the dependency you can mention here, test job. Okay, so that way we can use our dependencies in our different jobs or in different stages. Okay, yeah, so this is the basic and the fundamental about the GitHub pipelines, but there are so many things are there, and here I just shown you a dummy pipeline. It is not with any related to any application. It is like just to show the show the different concepts and the structure of the pipeline. Okay, but in our future lab we will discuss and we will try to do some real pipelines that include the like how to do the build of an application. We can how we'll create the test, execute the test of those applications, how to create Docker images, how to push it in different registry. Okay, and from there how we can deploy it into different environments, and also we need to provision infrastructure in any of the cloud environment. Okay, and we'll try to deploy with that. Okay, also we'll discuss about um, the custom or um, mm, the private runner. Okay, so runner is nothing, it is a virtual machine. It is simply a machine or server where that is allocated somewhere, it exists remotely, where our pipeline will run. Okay, so by default, GitLab provide the shared runner. Even if you don't use mention anything, it will be the GitLab runner will pick up our pipeline and execute it. Okay, but if we have any specific requirement there, then we need to create and integrate our runner with the GitLab. So that is different way we can do that. We'll discuss in our future lab. Okay, so that's all about today. And if we see in this repo, okay, if we go to the repository here, um, code and repository, I have mentioned most of the things here. Okay, please go through this and try to understand and try to use my pipeline. Create your own GitLab account, create a repository, and try to execute this pipeline by yourself, so that you'll get some more idea. And if any doubt or anything, please comment it. Okay, and so we'll discuss something new in our future session. Okay, thank you so much for watching this lab and session. Please like this and subscribe it, share to your friends and colleagues, whoever need to learn about DevOps and GitLab. Thank you so much. See you in our next lab. Bye bye.